UK versus US healthcare. Really interested to compare the two. Both healthcares are completely different. Before we do get into this video, we're super close to 200,000 subscribers. I appreciate every single one of you guys that's hit that subscribe button. Let's just straight into this and check this out.
So some of you may know I spent most of my adult life in the UK, and I'm a British citizen. So I really only had experience with the NHS in terms of my adult interaction with taking care of my health. And a lot of you guys have asked, what has it been like, that transition? And, well, hard. First of all, the big difference, you come to the end of
Wait, is she transitioning from the UK to the US?
your appointment or your blood test or even before these items, and it's money, please.
Okay.
You better have some money. And that may sound obvious, but it is so much more pervasive than just the act of handing over a credit card. Or
that's a big juicy word. What does that mean? Pervasive.
Much more pervasive than just the act of handing over a credit card.
Right.
Or paying your insurance bill every month. You feel like the healthcare here is a class system. And I think that's simply because it is.
What do you mean by
go
that?
through these different insurance packages, and like maybe they're like bronze, silver, gold, platinum. That's literally how you can filter them on the site.
Wait. So obviously the better package you have, the better healthcare you're gonna get. So if you can't really afford the best package, what, are they just gonna let you like die on the street? They're just gonna like just not see you all?
Side of the screen. And I mean, yes, they're signifiers to denote how much coverage you're gonna have, or your, I don't even know, your deductible shenanigans. I can't even try to stay neutral on this subject. I think it's fucking ridiculous. I know the NHS is not perfect, and I know the UK and the NHS in general have been in and continue to be in a lot of trouble. So I'm not just
Yo, the thing with the NHS, right, is that they just don't see you. Unless like you're urgent, they just don't. Like, the wait times are so long, it's ridiculous, bro. Like, I booked in for an NHS appointment for my eye 6 months ago. I've still not got an appointment booked, like scheduled. Like, bro, what? I went private 6 months ago as soon as I found out, because I was panicking. I just went private and they did it, boom, within a month. You do have to pay. Luckily, it wasn't too expensive. For everything that I had to get was like about 1,000, but that was like 6 different appointments, special contact lenses, loads of tests. So it wasn't too bad. From my experience using NHS and private, I'm a bit of a weird one. If I can afford it, I would rather go private, just because I feel like you get treated better. But, you know, like, you can't complain at the NHS. It's free. You know what I mean? They do the best job they can, and it's free, bro. So you can't really complain.
Sitting here being like, they got it all figured out and we're screwed up here. No, that's not what I'm saying. But in terms of a care for your people, all I can say is in the UK, I felt universally cared for. And here, I feel like if I have the funds to pay for care, then I'm allowed to be healthy. So easily number one, the most confusing thing has been navigating.
Yo, could I ask you guys a big question? And you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but like, I really want to know. If you can't really, let's just say like maybe you're low income or below low income, let's just say, just let me know, how was it getting healthcare if you needed it? Like, let's say you can't afford it. Like, what happened? Like, for example, if I lost a leg in America, right, I highly doubt they're just gonna let me bleed out. And if I'm like broke, like what will happen in that situation? Would I just go in debt and owe them a lot of money? And then what will happen with that debt? Like, is it like really bad debt, or is it like debt that you can, like, they'll work with you to pay it off over time of what you can afford?
What insurance to get. Luckily, through my job, I'm self-employed, but I get insurance through my job, sort of. It is pretty much, you get this package and that's that.
Okay.
So I didn't really have to choose so intricately. Number two.
Yo, what are the difference between the packages, dude? Yeah, I'm super curious, man. I'm super curious because, like, Yo, is the lowest package like they will operate on you with wooden tools? And the premium is they'll operate you with like loads of stuff and good tools. Like, bro, what's the different packages, man? I'm so confused.
Has been finding the right doctors.
Wait, what?
2 has been finding the right doctors. Your choice in doctors. In the UK, your GP pretty much does everything. They see kids. They see adults. Right. They see asthmatics. They see people with mental health conditions. That doctor has...
Do you know what, though? There's good points and bad points for both of these. Right? She's making the UK GP sound really good, and credit to them, they do a great job, right? I'm not here to slay anyone, you know what I'm saying? But this is my experience. They tell you the wrong things, bro. And I know other people that's been the same. Like, you'll go to one GP, they will tell you something, and then you'll walk away, and then, like, something will happen, and then you go back to the GP, and they'll be like, all right, yeah, okay, so I was wrong about that. Like, what? Like, bro, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, me personally, I feel like, because they got so many appointments, it's very, very busy, always packed, right? I feel like they kind of do a rush job. Unless it's very serious, you know what I'm saying?
The power to treat all of those things, to prescribe you antidepressants, to prescribe you an inhaler, to treat a baby and an elderly person. And this is all I ever knew. So I had an endocrinology team and I had my GP.
What was that?
That was pretty much it. Every year I'd go for an eye exam where they'd screen my eyes and take scans of my retinas and all that stuff to make sure there wasn't any degradation in my eyes due to diabetes.
Okay.
But that was pretty much it. Here, I have spent so much time registering with different doctors. So much so to the point where I finally registered with the GP, or your primary care physician, as they call it here. And I was like, okay, great. I'm diabetic, so I need my insulin prescription. And she just said, oh, no. Like, I don't prescribe insulin. Huh? Absolutely not. You have to go to your endocrinologist for that. So I did have an appointment with my endocrinologist, but because he was, a good endocrinologist that had a waiting list, I couldn't see him for like 3 months.
Wait. So she pretty much... Yo, that's mad. Is she pretty much saying that, like, let's say my leg got ran over and it needs amputating? Let's say that guy only does the leg. Do I need someone else for the toes? Or like that guy that does the leg can't do the arm? You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you need different people, bro? So
I was like, oh, what do I do? And I was also so shocked that the primary care couldn't prescribe insulin. It was totally categorically unwilling. So that has been a big shock to me, in that in order to get the treatment that I need, I have to go to all these different doctors, and every doctor has somewhat of a different system.
Right.
So, you go in, you fill out the paperwork, you go through all the initial questions, and then they want their own blood work, which all costs money. And yeah, at the end of all these...
Wait. You know, I was just saying, like, you do all the paperwork and they all want blood work. Do they not transfer over the current, like, documents and blood and whatever from one doctor to another? Let's say you transfer doctors. Like, in the UK, when you're assigned to one doctor, if you go to another doctor, they will send all your information over pretty good. They actually do that pretty good, to be fair.
Appointments, money, please. You gotta have the money to pay for the insurance, and then you gotta have the money to take time off work to go see these various different doctors, because they're different places. The transport to get there or the transit time to get there is different. It just demands so much of a person, and you have to be so organized and on top of it, which I always thought, like, in the UK, if you're your own advocate, you can get the care you need. And I still believe that, but you would always be getting that through your general practitioner for the most part. Whereas in the US, I feel equally, if not more, the need to advocate for myself, because you're choosing doctors from a directory of 1,000 different options, which sounds great, and there is a plus to that, but it's also incredibly complicated and confusing. And
no, I think that's a good thing. She's kind of saying, she did say there's a plus to it, but she's kind of saying it in a negative way. I genuinely think that's a plus thing, and like, I'm using my example of going private. I preferred so much more than, like, let's say I went to the NHS, they're just going to assign me anyone. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know who's going to assign me, but I really enjoyed actually going private with my eye, because I get to do my research, choose who I want to trust, and choose who I think is good. You know what I'm saying? I get to pick and choose who I deal with. So I kind of like the fact that you get to choose. Whereas like when you go NHS, boom, they just assign anyone. So with my eye stuff, because for some reason, I don't know how much of I've not really been in hospital too much. So I don't know how much like things can be private wise. But for my eye, it's cheap enough for me to go. So I'm just sticking private completely for this. Completely.
Time consuming to look up all the reviews and make sure you're choosing a doctor that is going to be good for you. The other thing I think is a very like dividing factor that I've seen is the amount of time you need to be able to devote, yes, but also like savvy, smart nature you need to have to know that, for example, I can go to this pharmacy and I can get a better rate there. My insurance works best with this pharmacy, or sometimes I should use my insurance for this prescription, but other times I should use like a coupon or a good RX. That is actually going to make that more cost effective. You need to be constantly on the alert and bobbing and weaving through these different options to be savvy to make sure you are getting the best deal. Which, like, I'll be honest with you, deal and healthcare, these are just concepts that in my adult life have not been alive in my mind. And I know I'm very, 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 very lucky to...
Hey, we're offering a 2-for-1 leg and potato deal. Hey, come now. You know what? I would not be surprised if there was an advert out there in America that did that.
Say that. But I feel like you need to be pretty darn educated and have the confidence to call places up and to use coupons that you might not be sure are going to work, or advocate for yourself when you know it's right through the insurance, but the person providing isn't providing the same thing that you were told you were going to get.
Right.
These are all things that the consumer here really needs to have if you're going to get the most bang for your buck, I guess, which don't we all want that? Especially when you're dealing with a chronic condition that you have many different medications that you have to keep renewing every single month. You want to make sure you're doing like the smartest thing possible.
See, I speak to you guys a lot on my Twitch. If you guys want to head over there and have a chat with me, we talk all the time about topics like this. My Twitch is L3WG, twitch.tv/L3WG. But yeah, I'm just really curious to see your guys' opinions on this, because we can't slay the UK and US healthcare. You know what I mean? I feel like both healthcares have advantages to them and disadvantages, right? So like, me personally, I would prefer, everyone's different. Me personally, I would prefer to choose who my doctor is, where someone might not care and someone would just completely prefer that it's free. Do you know what I mean? They don't really care, no, but you know what I mean? So everyone's different. I've had my experiences and you guys have had yours, so I really want to know yours. But mine, honestly, I think if I went to America, I really wouldn't be too fussed that it's not completely free, because I don't really use the NHS anyway in the UK. Well, I'm saying this now, but if something really bad happens, hopefully it doesn't, and I did have to use a lot of healthcare, then maybe I'd prefer it being free. But right now, currently in my situation, I won't be too fussed either way.
So we relocated about a year ago, and because of this being a whole new system to me, I am only just getting to grips with things.
Right.
And getting in place a structure of how I'm going to get my medications every month. And I really don't mean to sound like I'm complaining or bashing the American healthcare system, but this is just what I've experienced, and a genuine comparison to what I experienced on the NHS in the UK for the last 15 years.
Okay.
And I should say, as an addendum to the it's free in the UK, the NHS is a taxed system. So I believe it is about 20% of the people's income tax goes toward the NHS.
Right.
Don't quote me on it.
The whole 20%?
I believe that's the general gist. So you are paying for it in a certain sense.
You know what? That is true. Technically, we are paying for it through tax. So when we say like the big difference between UK and US is that the UK is free, well, technically we are paying for it. But do you guys pay the same kind of tax anyway? I don't know, yo. Tax is just one of those things I don't want to dive into. I pay my 20% and I tell them that's it. I'm done, man. I don't want to deal with all that stuff, man. It's too much. Politics isn't my thing.
Absolutely, but it's in alignment in terms of the percentage to your own personal income taxes.
Right.
And a lot of people have a big problem about that because then the more wealthy are funding it more so than the less wealthy. And I hear that, but from an ethical and moral perspective, I personally find that to be a more...
By the way, if you was just wondering what I was doing, I think I just broke my chair. That's why I'm not looking down at my legs randomly. I think I just broke my chair.
That, but from an ethical and moral perspective, I personally find that to be a more suitable way to care for a public. And if I'm paying more than people that are less fortunate financially, I'm really okay with that. But I understand that that can be a very divisive subject, and I get it. But I'm so certain of where I stand on that front that I'm happy to say it. And if you want to come at me in the comments, that's fine. Moving to the US, and I always knew this, and it was a factor I had to get to grips with when we decided to move. And it's so much more complicated than I could ever have understood watching US bloggers and whatnot talk about it. You can hear people talk about this, but it's not till you're really in.
You know what? I've not really seen too many opinions from like people from America talking about it. That's why I'm so interested to see what you guys have to say, because yeah, it never really pops up. I was really hoping she was like from America going to the UK, so I could really look into it from an American perspective. But this is her living in the UK, going to America. So
in the thick of it, that like you realize just how complicated and overwhelming it is. This isn't meant to be a bash on the US system. The quality of care that I've found has been excellent. It's just the route to get to that care and what you need to have access to that care bothers me a lot. And I'm lucky because I have the capability to do what I need to do and pay for what I need to pay to get access to what I need to not only survive, but like thrive and live.
You know what? I feel like she's also been lucky in the UK as well, because I'm very surprised she hasn't experienced like really bad waiting times or stuff like that, because I know even family members that has just been waiting for so long, bro, for, like to get seen. And then when it gets seen, it was like, you know, they may as well not even gone. You know what I mean? So like, yeah.
Live a healthy life. So I fully stand up and appreciate that as well.
Can't wait to see the comments on this one, see your guys' personal experiences. If you guys want to have a conversation with me, like I said earlier, you can always head over to my Twitch, twitch.tv/L3WG. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe for more content. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.